Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. I guess that depends on when you are watching this. In any event, welcome to our 2020 Excellence in Academic Celebration. I'm Assistant Principal Tim Brown, and I will be your virtual Master of Ceremony for this presentation. I debated wearing a mask during my welcoming remarks just so everyone felt like we were really having the celebration in person. But I wasn't sure how well you would be able to hear me, and I decided against it. It's challenging to write and deliver a speech knowing that my audience isn't sitting directly in front of me. When speaking, I try to read the room and get a feel for the energy that is taking place. Everyone speaking tonight has been faced with a difficult situation. We've all been faced with a difficult situation. I'm a very positive person, however, and I try to think of the good in every difficult situation. So I thought to myself, maybe having everyone watch from home is a better option. Honestly, it's kind of a relief. It's not easy being the assistant principal and knowing that the entire room of my students sitting in front of me all had a much higher GPA than I did when I attended Timberlane. As a matter of fact, after seeing all of the colleges and universities that our top academic performers are attending in the fall, I am confident that if we put them all in one room, not only could they engineer a vaccine for this virus, they would be able to market it, publish journals on it, and create a musical or theater production about it. They are a special group of students. Let me touch upon how special these students are. Our top academic performers, whom we are honoring, are attending the most prestigious Ivy League universities, the top performing state and private universities, and some of the highest rated engineering schools in the country. These students have completed the most challenging courses offered at Timberlane, and time again, they have mastered them. These students have achieved greatness in the classroom, in athletics, theater, and all other endeavors. The students we are honoring tonight are our future doctors, lawyers, engineers, CEOs, and architects. In education, we talk about what lies ahead for our students' futures. These students are your future and my future. They are all of our future, and they are special. It is a pleasure and honor to be able to welcome everyone to the 2020 Excellence in Academic Celebration. I hope you enjoy the presentation. Our first speaker will be Senorita Nicole Jones, presenting on behalf of Lauren Musquita, who will be attending the University of New Hampshire studying biology.
Hola todos. It is a pleasure to be here virtually with all of you to honor Lauren Musquita, a young woman I've had the pleasure of knowing and teaching for the past 3 years. Lauren excels in many different environments. Whether on the volleyball court, in the classroom, or during community service, she never hesitates to give her best effort. When I look back over my time with Lauren, many great memories come to mind that showcase not only her incredible dedication to her studies, but her amazing attitude she brought to our community. Some of these include the times she visited me during lunch and free blocks to do work, when we set up for Project Hope Strut for the Cure together, and when she used my kettle to make cup of noodles during our class. Two particular memories, however, stand out among the rest. My first of these two memories was during her sophomore year Spanish 3 class, which was full of some of our school's brightest and most energetic students. During a vigorous game of Quizlet Live, which was generally accompanied by music and competitive shouts around the classroom, I noticed Lauren casually dancing in her seat along to the music. Although while carrying her team to victory, she never once lost the beat. This memory might seem strange, but to me it sums up Lauren perfectly because though she's an incredibly dedicated and conscientious student, she is also someone who understands the importance of having fun. It's a refreshing quality that often takes time and experience to acquire. My second memory of Lauren is during her time as the National Honor Society president. One morning, as our weekly 6:45 a.m. meeting started, Lauren was nowhere to be found. She shortly messaged, apologizing that she forgot to set her alarm, but was on her way. She arrived at the meeting towards the end, visibly disheveled and very flustered. But instead of brushing it off like most people would, she was angry at herself. So angry that later she found me again to say just how much. I can picture Lauren now, face in her hand, saying, "Senorita, why are you talking about this?" Well, Lauren, you may look back on this day with anger and embarrassment, but I see it very differently. I see a young woman used to excelling, as we know from her time as a dedicated AP student, Project Hope leader, and co-captain of the volleyball team, who made a very common human mistake. I see a young woman who herself to do better and exceed not only the expectations of others, but most importantly, her own. Lauren, you are a one-of-a-kind student. Your hard work and dedication to your grades prove that you belong at the top of the class, but it is your kindness, curiosity, and bubbly personality that make you so special. Your ability to hold yourself to the highest of standards, all the while dancing and smiling, will take you any place you want to go, as well as some places you would have never imagined. You will be missed here at Timberlane, but I am so proud of what you have accomplished, and I can't wait to hear what comes next for you. Thank you.
Our next speaker will be Ms. Jennifer Libby, speaking on behalf of Jennifer Hughes, attending Harvard University, studying molecular and cellular biology.
I'm honored here tonight to speak on behalf of Jennifer Hughes. What can I say about Jennifer Hughes? For the past 4 years, Jen has been a constant in my life, not only a student in many of my classes and a member of student council, but a person who is always there to help in any way she can. Yes, Jen is a stellar student who not only takes classes to challenge herself, but to become a better person. She has served her time well in the halls of Timberlane, donating hours of her time in honor societies such as Rho Kappa, math, science, Spanish, as well as a member of National Honor Society. Her dedication to helping others shows with her hard work and time spent through Project Hope, serving the past 2 years as a student leader, helping raising thousands of dollars towards cancer research. Even though her busy schedule, she works part-time and is a captain of the Timberlane cheerleaders. Jen is a true example of what it means to be a Timberlane owl. I was lucky enough to work with Jen through student council for the past 4 years. Her fellow classmates who serve on the council use words such as honorable, ambitious, funny, enthusiastic, determined, committed, and loud. All of these describe Jen Hughes. The past year, Jen did not only serve as the president of Timberlane Student Council, but worked with me serving as the Southern District President of the New Hampshire Association of Student Councils. We spent many Wednesday afternoons in Manchester planning, organizing, and developing leadership conferences and events. Jen, not only as a valid and enthusiastic participant on the board, she took a leadership role submitting ideas and supporting her fellow peers. Jen also attended 2 National Student Council conferences, one in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and the other here in Derry, New Hampshire at Pinkerton Academy. I will never forget walking up to Jen, who was a new freshman, a few days before the conference was about to start, asking her to be a state guide for the conference. One of the Timberlane students who had volunteered to work the 5-day conference at the end of June was unable to keep the commitment. I was desperate, and Jen's enthusiastic and confident demeanor, even as an upcoming freshman, encouraged me to ask her to fill in the role. Jen agreed and never faltered at the role of leading a group of students from South Carolina for the entire conference. Even then, I knew Jen was a force to be reckoned with. Okay, now that we've talked about all of her accolades and accomplishments, let's look at the real Jen Hughes. Did you know that she happens to not be the best passenger on a road trip? Not only does she sleep the entire time, but does not know that when you're a navigator and you have to actually tell the driver to go right or left, you actually have to do it before the turn. She also seems to need every comfort from home in the car with her, from snacks and drinks to even using her fellow passengers as pillows, no matter how long the drive is. Jen also has an unusual taste in music. Whether she is belting out soundtracks from musicals like Hamilton or playing a variety of music genres, Jen, and like everything she does, has a true passion for what she loves. There is not a topic that Jen cannot argue or sway a group of people to change their minds on. No matter whether the discussion is on the morality of politicians or the government's role in requiring vaccinations for their kids to go to school, Jen has always seemed to convince people to change their minds. She has a true gift and passion to deliberate on the best of topics. Even though we do not agree on anything, she is my favorite person to discuss any debate or any topic with. One definite thing everyone needs to know about Jen is she will take on any challenge when given a chance. She steps up in a way that is unlike any other student council member before her. Whether it's guessing potato chip flavors to bouncing a pencil into a styrofoam cup, Jen is a true competitor. She strives to be the best. She will spend hours determining whether a board is long enough to connect 2 platforms at Camp Lincoln, or how many boxes of cans donated in the food drive can be stacked on top of each other. Jen is determined to be the best at what most of us would consider useless talents. Jen also has a gift for visual arts. While she attends college next year at Harvard, it's not her strength in composing an essay or assessing text. Jen's true gift is her ability to determine where a stuffed plastic egg should be placed on a front lawn of someone's house, or her ability to design and make a sash for Spirit Week King and Queen in a matter of 10 minutes that will really show her true successes in life? What other graduates could tell you that they excel in determining the best way to pose with a wax figure, or how to plan, replan, and plan again a student council event in a matter of minutes? This is a real measure of determination and pure talent. Watch out, all you Harvards. As I have said over the past year, I end the Donnelly Rose Hughes dynasty on student council with Jen Hughes. I am sad, but honored to know the 4 years we have spent taking on the roller coaster of student council has been the best of the best for me. The many meetings, car rides, conferences, and events I have spent with Jen and her classmates is the reason I do what I do. I just want to say thank you for the smiles, laughs, frustrations, and memories that we all have endured. I will look at my classroom wall of memories and glance not only at the drawing we did of each other at nationals, but the many pictures of the moments we shared. Princess Leia once said, "Would it help if I got out and pushed?" When I think of Jen's character and true personality, this quote is a true symbol of all that she gives to the world. Jen is not one to sit and watch it happen, but holds herself to a commitment of making this world a better place. She is the real thing. I am privileged to say that I got to be a very small part of Jen's story. I will miss her walking into my classroom with that Hughes smile, shaking her head with yet another problem we must solve or a story that she needs to share. I want to say thank you, Jen, for being thoughtful and showing me that you know how hard I work. You are a beautiful person inside and out. I end with a passage from one of our favorite musicals, Hamilton. Jennifer Ann Hughes, there's a million things she hasn't done. Just you wait, just you wait. Thank you, and congratulations for the class of 2020. I miss you all.
Our next speaker will be Mr. Mark Suniglia, Science, presenting on behalf of Benjamin Richmond, attending Brown University and is undecided in his studies.
Good day. I'm speaking to you today on behalf of Benjamin Richmond. It is an honor for me to do so. It was both a pleasure and a privilege to have Ben in my AP Physics 1 and 2 classes. Before that time, I knew nothing about this amazing young man. Now I know he's very friendly, good-humored, and all-around great kid. He's also pretty smart. It is my strong opinion that Ben is the model student, the kind of student each teacher wants. If you were fortunate enough to have him in one of your classes, you know what I mean. I spent some time last week pondering, trying to find any flaws with him, and I could not. I can check off all those what a teacher wants in student boxes, so here we go. 1, respect. He displays great respect for me, the staff, and his fellow students. Check that box. 2, sits in the front row. He does this because he wants to learn, and he wants to be part of the action. Check that box. 3, ask questions. This is mission critical for success. Ben exhibits a true commitment to learning. Check that box. 4, does high quality work. Ben excels in both theoretical and experimental branches of physics. His work is outstanding. Check that box. 5, answers teachers' questions. No word of a lie. Ben usually gives me textbook responses to my questions, and that makes me very happy. Thanks, Ben. Check that box. 6, helps others. This is the guy you want in your study group or as a lab partner. Ben often offers guidance and direction to his peers. Check that box. 7, finally, and one of the most important, in my opinion, is goal-orientated. Ben is obviously on a mission. He has a game plan, and if I were you, I would not get in his way. Boom, check all those boxes. Thanks, Ben. My first encounter with Ben was in AP Physics 1 last year. On the first day, I was unsure of his chances to succeed in the course. To be honest, he seemed slightly out of place, perhaps unsure of himself. He didn't seem to have that natural science instinct or the engineering gearhead mentality. I wasn't focused on him. I was just trying to size up my new class. I prematurely misjudged him in a really big way. Ben steadily improved his grade throughout the year and ended up acing my course. What stood out was the determination drive to first understand the material and second, to improve himself. Ben has an unprecedented desire to learn and gain knowledge. He continues his studies with me this year in AP Physics 2, where he just nailed it. This school year, I was assigned an advisory class with one of my science colleagues. On the first day of the advisory class, I was extra apprehensive because this was not a course I was going to teach academics to. I did not check the roster prior to the first day. When Ben walked into the room, I realized he was a student in my advisory, and I said, yes, this kid I know, he's a great student, and he will help me motivate and encourage the other kids. That's what he does. That's what he did. He was a very big asset to me in the advisory class. Thanks, Ben. This year, Ben's schedule is nothing short of brutal. He juggled 6 advanced placement classes that include, and I'm going to say AP every time because it sounds cool, AP Spanish, AP Physics 2, AP Calculus B, AP English Literature, AP Statistics, AP US Government and Politics. What is even more impressive that he currently has a 97% combined average for these classes. In the past, Ben has also taken AP World History, AP US History, AP English Language and Composition, AP Physics 1, AP Computer Science A, and AP Macroeconomics, which he did independently through VLAX. That's 12 APs if you weren't counting. Dang, Ben, that's very impressive. You go, boy. Ben was active outside the classroom as well. He served as a treasurer for the class of 2020 and part of the student council. Ben founded a chapter of the Key Club at the high school and served as one of the Key Club presidents. Ben is a member of the Math Honor Society, Mu Alpha Theta, the English Honor Society, the Science Honor Society, the Social Studies Honor Society, Rho Kappa, and the National Honor Society. Ben emailed me a few weeks back and asked if I could speak on his behalf today, and I graciously accepted. This is part of what he wrote back to me. Mr. C, I would highly appreciate if you would work your quote, "Sleep is for the weak. You sleep when you're dead," into the speech because it has inspired me greatly and continues to do so. Done and done. Thanks, Ben. Ben has taken this quote to be his mantra. This is not my quote. It's not the nicest thought, and I don't remember where I heard it from, but it was part of my philosophy through college and graduate school. I said this often to my kids. Now it's Ben's. I will surely miss Ben Richmond. I miss him now. I wish him well. He will be studying economics and applied mathematics at Brown University in the fall. I know he will do great things. Best wishes to you, Ben. Thank you all, and have a great evening.
Our next presenter will be Mr. Ryan Richmond, Social Studies, presenting on behalf of Kyle Duffy, attending American University, majoring in communications, law, economics, and government.
Kyle, thank you so much for honoring me with the opportunity to speak about your achievements, your character, and who you are as a person. I wish that Mara, Gordon, and I were able to break bread with you to celebrate you. But right now, being safe and saving lives is more important and more noble. First, let me congratulate all the seniors being honored at the Academic Excellence Ceremony. This is something you've all been working so hard for every day of the last 4 years. And believe me when I tell you, your academic strength is the one achievement that will continue to serve you for the rest of your lives. It wasn't an easy accomplishment, so you deserve far more honors than you are getting. Kyle, you've come a long way since that first time you walked into my classroom 4 years ago. I remember this scrawny, awkward, overly enthusiastic freshman with completely untamable hair entering into my civics and economics classroom, who seemed so unsure of where he was going in life. So much has changed since then. You're not a freshman. But seriously, you have grown so much as an intellectual, a leader, and a human being, and I have been fortunate enough to be witness to it for all 4 years of your Timberlane journey. I could sit here and easily extol your phenomenal academic achievements, or run down your resume, including class president, class vice president, student representative to the school board, captain of flatball, president of Rho Kappa, president of government team, the many awards you've won at Model UN and government team conferences, serving on the New Hampshire Youth Legislative Advisory Council, serving as political director for the New Hampshire High School Democrats, being selected as a page to the Democratic National Convention. And the list goes on and on. But today, I'd rather talk about the clear path that you're on toward leadership. Now, I have a few gifts for you, and yes, they are themed, and yes, they are a framing device, and yes, they are all books. First is The Prince by Machiavelli. A bit predictable, but hear me out. This is probably the most misunderstood text in political science. I'm sure Mr. Castano and Mr. Doobie, Mr. Constantino, and I could have a heated debate about the meaning and intent behind The Prince. And I argue that you shouldn't be taking Machiavelli's advice at face value. Rather, it is a warning of the pitfalls of corruption, greed, and evil. The trite quip, "Is it better to be loved or feared?" is misleading. The Prince points out that true leaders, respected leaders, effective leaders are actually truly loved. Manipulative leaders who are in power only for their own selfish gain are feared. If you're going to be the change that we need in this world, Kyle, you will need to know your adversary's playbook. You will need to know how to identify evil and how to counter it. Use this guide to help you defeat those who would do harm to others. Next is opposite of The Prince, and that is a guide on how to be a good, effective leader, full of compassion for those you serve. The Audacity of Hope by President Obama is just that. We live in an age of political toxicity, where viewpoints or arguments are stagnant, unmoving, and diametrically opposed by your adversary. Loyalty is more important than service, and orthodoxy is more important than progress. The Audacity of Hope offers ideas on how to repair that broken system. And it's all about what you can do to fix that broken system. In the words of President Barack Obama, get involved in an issue that you're passionate about. It almost doesn't matter what it is. Improving the school system, developing strategies to wean ourselves off foreign oil, expanding healthcare for kids. We give too much of our power away to the professional politicians, to the lobbyists, to cynicism, and our democracy suffers as a result. Be that change, Kyle, for true leadership comes from compassion. Lastly is the most important book in your new collection, The Way of the Peaceful Warrior by Dan Millman. It's an extremely important book to me. I have shared this book with only a handful of people. The book's subtitle is a book that changes lives. And as cliche as that might sound, if you let it, it will. This book has the potential to revolutionize the way you look at the world, at people, at what society and others expect of you, of what love is, of what is important, of what is worth fighting for, of what is worth dying for, and what isn't. After reading this, I guarantee you won't look at the world the same way again, and we will all be the better for it. So Kyle, take these mementos, not just as a celebration of your accomplishments, but as a celebration of you, of what you've done, and of what you will do. And in 40 years, when you're sitting in your office in the halls of Congress, no matter what happens between now and then, no matter where our paths have taken us, these books will sit on both our shelves. And know you will always have that connection back to your biggest fan. Kyle, I am so proud of you. Not just of your academic accomplishments, but of the young man that you've become. You give me hope. Hope for our future, hope for our society, hope for something worth fighting for. How audacious of you. And to everyone, congratulations. Be safe, stay home, be smart, save lives like mine. We will get through this if we keep being smart. And that's why you're all here, isn't it? Congratulations to our academically best, and especially to you, Kyle. I cannot wait to see what you do next.
Our next presenter will be Mrs. Louise Pajak, music, presenting on behalf of Grace Duff, attending Gordon College, majoring in kinesiology.
Good afternoon. My name is Louise Pajak, and I'm here today to honor Grace Duff. When Grace extended her invitation to speak on her behalf, I reached out to her other teachers to get their impressions of her. Beth Reynolds, Grace's AP French teacher, said of Grace, "Very often she does the assignment as soon as I can get it posted on Google Classroom. There have been many times when she emails me, 'Hi, Madame, have you posted the assignment yet?' I think that it's terrific the way she gets down to business rather than procrastinating. She also has a gift with the little ones. The first time she taught French to the 4th and 5th graders at Pollard School, I wasn't sure how it would go. But wow, she had all of them eating out of her hand. If Grace doesn't get it right the first time, she'll work on it until she figures it out. Her determination is wonderful. Grace is very kind and sensitive to others and how they might be feeling. She loves playing sports. Julia Knight, Grace's basketball coach, said of Grace, "She was an essential part of the Timberlane girls basketball team. She was always coachable, had a great attitude, and did whatever was needed to help the team. Grace was a well-rounded student athlete, thriving in the classroom and the orchestra, working a job and playing multiple sports. Grace is the type of player every coach hopes to have on his or her team." Mrs. Beholpeck echoed their comments and added she was only sorry she had not gotten to work with Grace sooner and longer. I have had the great good fortune to know and work with Grace for the past 7 years. We first met when she joined 6th grade orchestra. She instantly impressed me with her equanimity and poise, rare qualities in a middle schooler. Grace had a quiet confidence that belied her years. To this day, she's not a very show-offy person, but is the embodiment, in the very best way possible, of the adage, velvet glove, iron fist. After a brief detour into chorus, Grace rejoined orchestra in 8th grade and has been in the ensemble ever since, playing chamber music solos and for the past 2 years chairing the first violin section. Her teachers and coaches have spoken of her work ethic and determination, so have her family members. After a concert last year, her brother Eli, Dad Tom, and I were chatting in the lobby of the PAC. Eli expressed his frustration, as only Eli can, with the interminable amount of practicing Grace was doing to perfect a musical excerpt for Smart Music. Eli, himself a musician who understands the value of repetition, could not believe how many times his family had endured listening to the same violin passage over the past few weeks. I believe he used the words to the effect of, "She must have played it 50 times last night. I'm getting kind of tired of it." Those of you who know Eli can imagine the mix of drama, exasperation, but also good humor that fueled his outburst. Perhaps the strongest example of Grace's tenacity and determination is the work she did this past fall to prepare for the All-State audition. The violin section is one of the most competitive sections in the entire All-State collective. Grace worked tirelessly to prepare the audition piece and her scales, and there were days when she was frustrated and unhappy with her progress. Nonetheless, she soldiered on. Her hard work paid off, and with a seat in the ensemble. I'm so very sorry the event was canceled, but I'm also extraordinarily proud of Grace and the arduous work she put into the audition. Grace can also be playful, dare I say mischievous. She and one of her fellow violinists revel in each other's company and occasionally have a bit too much fun during rehearsal. When I called them on this, they mended their ways and resolved to keep it down. It almost worked. In addition to her capacity for hard work, Grace also seems to have a bottomless store of empathy and kindness. As an orchestra officer, she has shown remarkable patience and understanding with those who do not share her seriousness of purpose. She has also displayed a positive philosophical attitude during this challenging time. These are her words of advice to her classmates regarding our current crisis. It is a crazy time that we are living through, but I am deeply grateful for the amount of support fellow students and faculty members are sharing with one another. No one is alone. We are all in this difficult time together. We will get through this one step at a time, even if it takes a little longer than expected. Stay strong, everyone. Lastly, I feel compelled to acknowledge Grace's lovely family, her parents Lori and Tom, and her twin brother Eli. They are a tremendous unit of loving, supportive people who bring out the best in each other. With such terrific role models, it's no wonder that Grace has become such a remarkable young woman. Grace hopes to study kinesiology in college next fall. I wish her all the best and cannot wait to see what happens next.
Our next presenter will be Mr. Michael Castano, English, presenting on behalf of Emma Hill, attending Boston University, majoring in marketing.
Hello everyone, my name is Michael Castano, and it is always an honor to be asked to speak at the Academic Excellence Celebration. This year, though, is super special because I get to speak on behalf of not only one, but two students who have showcased academic excellence over their last 4 years at Timberlane. The first student I'm so proud to speak on behalf of is Emma Hill. I've had Emma in class twice during her career at Timberlane, the first time her sophomore year in world literature, and again her senior year this year in public speaking. And I want to take us back in the magical time machine. Let's go back to sophomore year. Our first unit was focusing on truth. And the summative assessment for this unit was to have them craft a children's literature story that showcased some sort of universal or ubiquitous truth using the hero's journey as well as other archetypes and allegories to convey this universal or ubiquitous message. Well, Emma and her group stepped up to the challenge. They crafted a wonderful story called In the Doghouse, which then was shared with my wife's fourth grade class, who evaluated these stories and ultimately selected Emma's story in her group as the best story that was able to use the hero's journey, the archetypal patterns, and allegories. And so I thought it would be only fitting that tonight, Emma, for public display, you get your own children's story. So for the first time, for the consumption of the public, I share with you all Queen Emma and the Dragon of Doubt. Once upon a time, there was a high school girl named Emma Hill. As a lowly freshman peasant in the lunchroom, she had Welch's fruit snacks hurled at her head by the royal upper class. However, she quickly realized she did not need to confine herself to this chaos. She ran out of the cafeteria, never to return, as she sprinted toward her sophomore year. Now, elevated to the level of commoner, she encountered the Earl of English, Count Castano. That's me. Thought to be boring and strict, she eventually went on to have much fun crafting children's literature books and Macbethian escape rooms. Not only did she conquer world literature, but she also went on to conquer the realm of AP World History. Her good grades in both world literature and world history earned her the status of princess. As princess, her junior year, she started to learn the constitutional law of the land with the help of Duke Richmond, of course. But her knowledge did not end there. She learned all things historical, psychological, and governmental to run a kingdom that was rooted in fairness and in love. Once again, in her senior year, the Council of Students spoke, and she became the Queen of Treasury. However, this time someone, or more so, something, took notice. A horrible dragon in the neighboring county. A demonic dragon who would stop at nothing to stare Queen Emma in the eyes and fill her with anxiety and apprehension. Little did the commoners know this dragon had been watching her since her days as a lowly peasant. So she got on her trusty steed and headed back to the Earl of English. She asked if he had a weapon to defeat the Dragon of Doubt, perhaps a sword or a spell or some sort of magic elixir. But Count Castano suggested the weapon she needed had been with her all along. Her words. "But I am far from the most extroverted," Queen Emma explained. "I know said Count Castano, "but you are the bravest person in all the land. And that is what will make this even more extraordinary." So, Queen Emma headed to the nearby Cavern of Concern to confront the beast. The demonic dragon looked Queen Emma in the eyes and said, "Do you really think you can slay me?" After a deep breath, Queen Emma said, "No, but I can tame you." As Queen Emma confidently spoke these words, the dragon stood stunned. But perhaps even more amazed was Queen Emma herself, for you see, it had taken 18 years for Emma to find her voice and to quiet the dragon. After seeing Queen Emma's courageous acts in an outlying district, the Kingdom of Bostonian University wanted to acquire the Queen's skills. She'll now go by the title Empress Emma of all things marketing. And back in her homeland, the Earl of English, Count Castano, looks on with admiration as this caring, mindful, and even quick-witted empress conquers the world. For us, the end. But for you, Emma, this is just the beginning of a long road of success that I cannot wait to hear about and to witness. Congratulations on 4 years of academic excellence. I am so incredibly proud of you.
Our next presenter will be Senora Sherry Allen, World Languages, presenting on behalf of Alexis Howard, Northeastern University, majoring in finance.
It is truly an honor and a privilege to stand before you tonight to speak on behalf of Lexi Howard. As many of you know, I primarily teach freshmen at Timberlane, and it humbles me to think that students after 4 years here choose me and remember me fondly enough to ask me to speak for them. Thank you, Lexi, for this opportunity. So let's walk down memory lane together back to 2016 when I stepped into my Period 6 Spanish 2 Accelerated class. When I walked into this class of predominantly boys in an afternoon class, I could feel the energy and wasn't sure what I was in store for the next 180 days. However, I looked around the room and saw some quiet girls quietly staring up at me and smiling at me as I introduced myself to this class. Lexi was one of those girls smiling and making me feel comfortable on day one, and Lexi was one of those students who soon reaffirmed my love of teaching after 23 years in the high school classroom. She soon became one of my favorite students in one of my all-time favorite classes here at school. This class, by far, was one of the hardest working groups I've had for a while and one of the most fun groups to teach. Ask Lexi, we sure had our share of laughs and moments from this class. She'll surely remember the day that Jared showered Reese by mistake with an unexpected sneeze and the whole class had a good laugh. And that became a standing joke anytime anyone sneezed for the rest of the year in that class. She probably remembers the many days that I would walk around to check for homework and tell everyone, this class is the only class that did all their homework, and Donovan or Colin would beg for Chupa Chups because, Senora, we did all our work for you. I'm sure she'll forever remember and even chuckle to herself as she thinks about me running around the room as I demonstrated walking a dog saying, Caminar con el perro, whoa, perro. Or she may even remember my crazy little grammar songs and laugh as I used to say, Senora Bups, Senora va a Hollywood. Period 6 Spanish 2 was hands down one of the most fun groups of kids I've ever had the pleasure to work with, and Lexi, you were one of those great kids. So here's your gift from me. You will forever have me recorded with the memories of that class. But now I want to talk to you about the gift you gave me, and yes, I do mean a gift. You're the student that's the epitome of every teacher's dream. You're one of the most hardworking, dedicated, intelligent, kind, fun-loving students that I've ever encountered in teaching. You excelled in my class academically and stood out as a star student in this group. Every assignment was completed with the intention of perfection. Every time you entered class, you gave it your all, not only on paper, in charades, in song, in groups, it didn't matter. Your dedication to your studies is bar none. In fact, not only did you achieve an A in my course, but you strived all year and received an A+ in the fourth quarter, which by far was the most difficult quarter of Spanish 2, and probably one of the most difficult quarters of Spanish in general. We battled through the dreaded Preterite and Imperfect together, and you wrote an amazing children's storybook as a final project. What an accomplishment. You are a true student, and you make teaching fun, so thank you for that gift. In addition to the relationship we had in class, Lexi, you continued to connect with me over the next 3 years at school. Your smile in the halls helped to brighten many days, and I loved when you would stop and chat with me here and there about life, classes, grades. You always made time to foster this relationship, and I have enjoyed watching you grow up into the young woman you now are as a senior. I cannot believe all the things you've accomplished at this school or the impact you've had on me or Timberlane. You're at the top of your class, and you're an active member of the business, math, science, Spanish, and National Honor Societies. Amazing and so admirable. In addition to your scholarly endeavors, you found time to be part of groups like Life of an Owl, helping to lead others in the building to greatness, and a member of the Key Club and Mealy's Meals, where you help the underprivileged in our community. You worked hard as a member of Project Hope for 4 years, helping to support those suffering with cancer. All of these groups and honor societies require many hours of community service and meeting hours, and you made time for it all. You also made time for athletics by participating and leading the girls' softball team as a captain. You are well-rounded, capable of excellence, and can balance it all. Your passion and dedication will serve you well in the future, and I have no doubt in my mind that you will do great things. It is with great sadness that I have to say adios to you in 1 month. So instead, I'll say hasta la próxima, until next time, because I'm really hoping that you'll stay in touch and will update me here and there with a smile or a text. I'm proud of you, Lexi, and I'm so happy that our paths crossed here at school. Buena suerte. I wish you health, happiness, love, and laughter. Remember, you don't always have to be perfect. Just be you.
Our next presenter will be Mrs. Patty Dearman, presenting on behalf of Katherine Mazur, attending the University of New Hampshire Honors College, studying medical laboratory sciences in Spanish, pre-med.
First, I want to say how different it is to be out here giving a tribute to all of you wonderful seniors. It's a beautiful, sunny day, and if you didn't know better, you'd think everything was normal in the universe. But of course, we know it's not. So I want to congratulate all of our outstanding seniors who are being honored today. What a challenging year this has been. It's going to go down in history, that is certain. But think of the stories you'll get to tell your potential kids someday. They'll never be able to complain when they talk about their high school careers, because you can say, hey, at least you had a high school. We didn't even have a graduation or a prom or an athletic banquet. So in spite of this ordeal, your commitment to excellence didn't waver, and we could not be in greater awe of your accomplishments. However, today I am privileged to pay tribute to one very special person, Kate Mazur, who embodies so much of what I wish I could be. When I was thinking about what to say today, I decided I would share a few memories of my time with Kate to show you just how much she brings to the world. I think the first time I met you, Kate, was on our English Honor Society kayaking trip before school started. It was about 2 years ago. I actually didn't know any of the students. They were all new members. And on that trip, we had 10 novice kayakers, all of whom shared kayaks, except Kate, who paddled off independently and confidently in her own kayak, which should come as no surprise to those of you who know her. When Kate is in her element, she is so supremely capable, and she certainly showed that on that trip. And while others were snagged on branches and stuck on sandbars and yelling blame at each other, and there was plenty of that, I watched as Kate serenely paddled upstream, completely unfazed by the commotion around her. Kate, I learned a lot by watching you that day. You have such a great sense of adventure, and you have no problem going it alone. You're a quiet risk taker. And when you want something, you go after it. I really admire you for that. You have guts, you have courage, and a sly sense of humor, and we both laughed a lot that day. Another experience Kate and I shared was when she offered to help me create this elaborate escape room project for our AP classes, and that was no easy feat. I was up to my ears in lockboxes and secret codes I couldn't decipher. The project was such a disaster that when Kate volunteered to step in and take over, I could have kissed her. And here's what I discovered about you, Kate, during those crazy days when I was losing my mind. You never lose yours. You have the capacity for calmness, the capacity to see the bigger picture. You are an adept problem solver who will get the work done every single time. I could not have been more grateful to you, and of course the escape room was a fabulous success because of you. Cool, calm, collected, that's Kate. But perhaps the most meaningful experience you had last year, and naturally I was not a part of that, was the science trip to the Galapagos Islands, a trip which I know had a profound impact on you because when you returned, you had such great stories to tell. And I learned that at your heart, you are not only an inquisitive scientist, but a great humanitarian. In fact, you decided to change your college essay, remember, to the story of Lonesome George, the last tragic remnant of the Pinta Island tortoise species, which you learned about on the Galapagos trip. Here's what I learned about you from that essay and from every other writing assignment that year. You have an amazing writing talent, a gift for humor and poignancy that I have rarely seen in my teaching career. The few students I have had with that gift have gone on to do extraordinary things, so I know you are going to as well. And here's what else you share in common with those gifted students. You have far more potential and talent than you know. Your unassuming nature is what keeps you grounded, and that will serve you well in the future. What your unpretentious nature has meant in high school, however, is that you didn't necessarily receive the attention or acclaim that you deserved. I know that. High school is so often about the overly dramatic, the populars, and the loud voices that drown out thoughtful, introspective students like you. But don't worry, Kate. There are enough of us who do recognize and value your talent, and you will find other gatekeepers and mentors who will open doors and help you find your path. One does not have to paddle too far or look too closely to see all that you bring to the world. On a very personal note, I will miss you so much. I'm glad you're not going to the far regions of the universe to study, at least not yet, because I'd like to know I could reach out to you when I once again find myself in the midst of chaos, and I know I will. Kate, we could not be more impressed by your accomplishments, but more important, by all that you embody. Congratulations on an outstanding high school career, and thank you so much for letting me be a part of this very special occasion.
Our next presenter will be Mr. Brad Vigers, English, presenting on behalf of Tim Triscotti, attending the University of Colorado Boulder, studying chemical engineering.
My name is Bradley Vigers, English teacher at the high school. Here at the high school, we always talk about what it means to be an owl, and the OWL's acronym. I can't think of a student that more exemplifies the qualities that make someone the perfect Timberlane owl. My first impression of Tim Triscotti was his sophomore year. I popped in to observe his history teacher, and what I saw amazed me. The entire class was engaged in a lesson on World War II. Right in the middle of this lesson was one student who stood out to me. Tim was volunteering to read passages, answering questions, and more, all with great enthusiasm. The following year, I had the pleasure of having Tim in my American Studies class. I had only known Tim from his brief encounter the previous year, and then a couple of times during soccer tryouts. Tim instantly showed me that he was going to be a pivotal asset to our class. It's tough to be in a classroom of 40 students and present your work or perform a skit. Tim never shied away from an opportunity to present, share, and participate. He also showed that he is more than just a student that can recall yesterday's lesson, show off his reading comprehension skills, and be one of the class's top writers. He is someone that is willing to play Judge Danforth in our class version of The Crucible. He can do a phenomenal reading of Chief Sitting Bull's rally speech. He can write some of the best nature poems during our Transcendentalism unit. He was also able to lead his peers in the Progressive rally. His versatility as a student is what makes him stand out. He doesn't just succeed in one or two skills, he puts forth his best effort, no matter what the assignment is. The final thing about Tim that I must highlight is his overall character as a human being. The first word that comes to mind when I think of Tim Triscotti is integrity. He's always doing the right thing, no matter who is looking. He's constantly smiling and picking up his peers. To be honest, I've never seen Tim not have a smile on his face. I have no doubt that Tim will be successful no matter what career he chooses to pursue. He approaches every day with a positive attitude and embraces the many challenges that life throws at him. Tim, your optimistic outlook is a gift that helps one persevere through hard times. Continue to look at life with the glass half full, and always do the right thing.
Our next presenter will be Mr. James Shivel, Mathematics, presenting on behalf of Bridget Buckley, who is undecided where she'll be attending college, but she'll be studying mathematics.
I'm so proud to be speaking today on behalf of Bridget Buckley. It's an honor to be asked to be a part of an event like this that recognizes our very best and brightest seniors. The fact that Bridget was selected for this recognition is certainly not a surprise to me. I've had the good fortune to be Bridget's teacher for 2 math classes. She was in my AP Stats class as a junior and now in discrete math as a senior. By any measure that you can choose, Bridget is truly an exceptional student. She possesses a natural curiosity for learning, and she has a collection of academic skills and attributes that most students can only dream of. I'll list a few of them off for you. Bridget is an exceptional problem solver. She possesses an intuition for mathematics that's off the charts. She's self-disciplined, she always works hard, and she's an accomplished collaborator who greatly values the success of an entire team. She can explain complex ideas in a way that's clear and easy to understand, and she has the ability to process information quickly. It's impressive and it's rare. For the past 2 years, Bridget has consistently been among the very best students I've worked with. But in my mind, none of this really explains what makes Bridget so unique and so outstanding. If I asked Bridget to explain the reasons for her success at Timberlane, I'm not so sure that she would be at all interested in talking about it. If I asked her to describe her best qualities, she would probably just shrug it off and hope I'd move on to something else. In fact, I'm not sure that I've ever heard Bridget boast about any of her vast accomplishments, whether it's academic, athletic, or personal. When I reflected more on this, it made me realize how rare it is to see a student so accomplished, yet remain so unassuming. Bridget's level of humility is unbelievable, and it's refreshing. And it's one of her greatest gifts, and one that will take her very far. I recently read a quote by a guy named Zig Ziglar, who was an author and a motivational speaker. He said, "Humility will open more doors than arrogance ever will." I have no doubt that Bridget will continue to find the doors of opportunity opening for her as she moves forward in her journeys. She's an exceptional young lady. But that's not the whole story of Bridget Buckley. There's more. When I was writing this, I was trying to put my finger on exactly what it is that makes her so unique and special, and then it dawned on me. Over my 20 plus years of teaching, there have been a couple of students where I distinctly recall thinking the very same thought, and here it is. In whatever future career she chooses, Bridget would make an amazing boss. She's the kind of person I would consider myself lucky to work for. Here's why. I looked up leadership qualities the other day, and the first site I searched gave me 11 traits of effective leaders, and here's what it said. Effective leaders are good communicators and listeners. They have integrity. They're accountable. They have empathy. They possess humility. They show resilience. They have vision. They're influential. They have a positive presence. They're willing to delegate responsibility and are confident. I'm not always sure if Bridget sees herself as a natural leader, but I certainly do. When I read that list, it sounds to me like a Bridget Buckley resume of personal qualities. Being a leader does not mean being the loudest. It does not mean seeking credit, and it does not mean boasting about one's accomplishments. It's about being competent and possessing the skills I just read. People can accomplish so much when they're being led by someone with the personal qualities that Bridget possesses. One of my favorite leadership quotes comes from an unknown source. It goes as follows. Leaders instill their people a hope for success and belief in themselves. Positive leaders empower people to accomplish their goals. And Bridget, that's the kind of leader that I see. Bridget, I worry sometimes that you don't fully realize how capable and talented you are. And beyond that, your best attribute isn't even academic in nature. Your best attribute is simply you. It's who you are as a person. Never sell yourself short. You have an amazing future ahead of you. Thank you for letting me be a part of this celebration today. It means a lot to me. I want to congratulate you on 4 years of excellence in academics. I wish you the best as you continue on with your academics. You are truly most deserving of this recognition. I can't wait to see where the future takes you. And if I ever need a job someday, I just might give you a call. Congratulations.
Our next presenter will be Mrs. Lorraine Massioli, Mathematics, presenting on behalf of Nicholas Longchamp, attending Rensselaer Polytech Institute, studying aeronautical engineering.
I am honored, humbled
to be part of this celebration with all of you and with all of my amazing colleagues chosen to speak today. I am proud to say I'm here on behalf of Nick Longchamp. I first came to know Nick Longchamp his freshman year when he joined our math team. I had already worked with his older brothers, Ben and Chris, so I was equally excited to continue working with yet another Longchamp. When Nick wrote a letter to me this year requesting a college recommendation from myself, in it Nick highlighted his first encounter with math team for me. He wrote a crazy, wildly excited lady that I was so enthusiastic for math, he could barely believe it. He was shocked and surprised when I brought candy as snack to the first practice and would only call them by their mathematical equivalent of slope and slopes. Nick shared in the limelight of his two older brothers on the math team, and he was fiercely determined to hold his own, even as a freshman. His determination and tenacity paid off as Nick was recognized as our highest scoring freshman for the team that year, and also earned a perfect score in algebra at the state meet. I am thankful and appreciative of the ongoing fun times we had those first 2 years together on the math team, with Nick growing, evolving, and pushing me to work harder to challenge him. He was so sharp and so quick, I was starting to be unnerved myself. Could I challenge him enough? I was ecstatic to learn he was a part of our pre-calculus course his junior year. I wondered how I could continue to challenge him. Yet it turned out to be a year I witnessed tremendous growth and perseverance on Nick's part, working hard to creatively solve unique problems, especially in a group quiz setting. Sometimes still putting up with my wild and crazy eclectic ways in the classroom, not just witnessed by him with me on math team. I was able to witness Nick evolve into a natural leader among his peers in pre-calculus. He was curious and thirsty for knowledge and excited to learn. Over this time, I have come to appreciate the energy and excitement Nick brings to the learning in the classroom. His contagious character and personality enrich his peers' learning alongside of him in a manner in which I am grateful for. Nick's dedicated work ethic and perseverance pushed others to try harder, especially when things may have felt incredibly difficult and others would have preferred to have thrown in the towel. To my surprise, he thanked me for these same traits in his letter when inviting me to speak on behalf of him for this special celebration. Me? Well, the contagious character and personality, the thirst and excitement for learning, we share these wonderful traits in common. It's ironic when the tables turn on you like that. This year I've had the distinct pleasure of working with Nick more closely in a leadership role as he has managed our math team and led our Math Honor Society in his role of president. Nick had amazing role models before him in this role of president, which his brother Ben held, as well as Mike Markarian and Cooper Oria before Nick's tenure. Nick seemed excited and nerved at the same time taking on the presidency, where these were some serious shoes to fill. But these great leaders before him helped Nick mold into the leader he is with our math team and Honor Society today. I point out to him in our advisor meetings the tools he has and should use to push our cause forward. Nick's passion for us to work hard and believe in himself and the ability of others perpetuated our math team to its best end-of-season showing in the past 4 years. We finished in second place in the entire league this year, with Nick as our second highest scoring senior on our team and finishing as 8th highest scoring senior in the entire league, where only 7 questions correctly done separated him from a first place finish among his peers in 3 states. Wow. Well done. So I am honored to celebrate these victories with you, as well as celebrate the leader Nick has become. Nick had these innate leadership abilities embedded in his core, evident since his freshman year. All he needed was an opportunity to shine and passion to succeed and an opportunity to demonstrate his skills. I have never been more grateful a year than this year to have had such strong leadership in both our math team and our Math Honor Society. He carried the torch, rallied the troops, and cheered them on to victory at times when I could not. He did so with the same amount of enthusiasm and gusto I would have given during some practices or meets when I couldn't be there. Which leads me to honestly think and reflect on our OWL's mantra. O, offer your best. W, work cooperatively and lend a helping hand. L, live responsibly. Or is the L lend a helping hand? Whoops. S, speak and act respectfully. 4 pillars of traits in every owl we seek. Hey, 4. If we take 2020, that's divisible by 4. Oops, back to the speech. Thank you so much, Nick, for lending that helping hand. Thank you for embodying the core of all of these traits. All of you. This is the ultimate dream of any teacher. To know you've made a difference in the life of another, but to also be honored for it, to be recognized by it, especially coming from you, the student, truly humbling to say the least. I'd like to thank you again, Nick, for your leadership, your help this past year, and your excitement for learning. Thank you for choosing me to represent you. I can't thank you enough. I also want to thank our administration for bringing our OWLS community together as never before and making our OWLS mantra come alive this year with their daily reminders and announcements. In a year where the class of 2020 feels especially divided, the continual reminder of what OWLS are about, this has uniquely brought us together in a sense of routine and comfort in our socially distanced world today. Hey, 2020. Divisible by 4 OWL traits leaves us with 505. Back to remembering 2020 is divisible by 5 too. Well, I'll forever remember the 5 as a hand, the helping hand. The lend a helping hand to others, especially in their moment of great need. Thank you, Nick, for doing that for me. I'd love to give you all a high five for all that you've done, especially you, Nick, for all that you've done in helping to make our math team and Math Honor Society as successful as it is. For the high five moments we had in class, for the high five moments in celebrating all that we've accomplished in the time that you've been here. I'd love to high five all of you in celebration of this academic excellence. You all deserve it. I'd love to high five all of my colleagues as well. I'm proud to work with you, and I'm proud of all of you students. You all are the epitome of the OWLS mantra. I'd love to high five all of the admin as well for bringing all of us together, reminding us what is important, being an owl through and through every day. We may not all be recognized as the great leaders I opened my speech with, but in our moment in history, Timberlane history, we have all had the opportunity to be molded into the leaders we are today, from others that have guided us and believed in us. Thank you, students, for recognizing all of us teachers today, and thank you, Nick, for allowing me to guide and mold you into the leader you are today. If the 5 and the high fives don't work for us in our socially distanced world, and back to the dicey 5 I mentioned earlier, I suppose that 5 on the dice could represent something truly exciting, such as in the game of Yahtzee, and how exciting it is to get 5 of anything. Nick, I'd like to give you a token of my appreciation by getting you a gift for the Tower of Hanoi. It's 3 pillars where you move graduated blocks from Tower 1 to Tower 3. It's a puzzle. And you may be wondering or slightly puzzled, why would this be my token gift of remembrance? I'd like you to keep it on your desk at college, and when you need a distraction, it would be a puzzle that you could work with. The 3 for me signifies that you are the last of the Longchamps. The 3 for me signifies that 2020 is not divisible by 3. Yet, when I think of all of these divisors, I'd rather think of them that we are no longer divided, but we are being brought together uniquely as owls. In fact, instead of divisors, I look at our numbers of 2, 5, and 10 for the class of 2020, our pillars of 4, not as divisors, but as factors. These are all factors that have factored into your 2020 school year, and I apologize that the factor of 1/3 has shown that you've lost about 1/3 of your schooling this year. I'd like to close and again thanking all of you for your hard work and making the teaching career as rewarding as it is, and the hard work that you've given all as students. And I personally like to thank you, Nick Longchamp, for having me represent you for your Academic of Excellence Award ceremony.
Our next presenter will be Mr. Michael Castano, English, presenting on behalf of Grace O'Connor, attending the University of Texas at Austin, studying architecture.
Hello everyone. Once again, my name is Michael Castano. It is an absolute pleasure and a privilege to be able to speak again tonight at the Academic Excellence Celebration. This time I'm going to talk to you about a student I've had in class 3 times, Grace O'Connor. The first time I had Grace in class was her sophomore year for world literature, again her senior year for modern world literature, and a third time in improvisational comedy. Her self-proclaimed favorite class during high school was modern world literature, not because I was the teacher, but probably because we got to watch Get Out for educational purposes. This unit, though, in class, specifically this unit, was very challenging because one of the units focused on dehumanization. And Grace ultimately had to do a 25-minute presentation as well as write a 20-page paper on the current dehumanization that still exists in our world. And she actually did such a wonderful job on this assignment. I used excerpts of it in my current class, and I will use it going forward. However, at the onset of this unit, we watched a TED Talk called The Danger of a Single Story by Chimamanda Adichie. And in this, Adichie eloquently explains that the danger of the single story is something we all face. It is the story of the first impression, usually, that we get of a person or a group of people, and we believe it defines that person despite it being valid or not. So let's go in the magical time machine. Let's go back to sophomore year, and the first impression I have of Grace, my single story of Grace, is a student who's complaining about the grade she got on a summer reading assignment. And her first impression of me is a teacher she's probably going to butt heads with all the time, as well as someone who will tank her grade point average. However, clearly that didn't happen, as we are here today. But over the few months that started to pass, I realized that Grace was far more than this single story. It was the story of a student complaining, but not because they were just upset in the moment, but because they were someone who really cared about their academic career. And I got to learn a lot of stories about Grace that were more than that single story, 10 of which that I want to share with you today. The first story is a story who, of course, is worthy of academic excellence, as she is a member of National Honor Society, Math Honor Society, and Art Honor Society. Secondly, she is a National Merit Scholar and a U.S. Presidential Scholars candidate. Third, she is the story of an artist with a delectable hamburger that's on display in the school's library. How many students do you know who can have a giant hamburger on display in their school library? Come on. The fourth story is the story of her volleyball journey, starting as a sophomore and ending with a monumental senior night surrounded by her family, friends, and loved ones. Fifth is the story of someone who was determined to cut their hair and to dye it pink. Sixth, the story of someone who loves ultimate frisbee and is pretty good at it. And yes, Kyle Duffy, if you're listening, ultimate frisbee is a sport. 7, she is the story of a political activist, as she is a member of the high school Dems. 8, she is the story of Stillwell's Ice Cream's Employee of the Month for 18 months and counting. 9, she is the story of a person who started a petition to show me how much she cares, not only about me as a teacher, but as a human being. And 10, her latest story is a story of how she committed to the University of Texas at Austin's architectural program, a program with only a 12% acceptance rate. But maybe my personal favorite story is the story of Grace as Milkman Manager. Her unofficial journey to Milkman Manager started her junior year when she sent me some t-shirt designs for National Improv Day. And the thing that was amazing about these t-shirt designs was that I didn't ask her to do it. She just sent them to me out of the goodness of her heart, which is when I realized maybe more than her academic excellence was her excellence of a human being. That she put other human beings first and wanted to do things that showed she cared about them. So her senior year, she actually became the official first ever Milkman manager, and she does so many things behind the scenes. She is taking tickets. She is organizing our money to give to organizations at the end of the night. She is promoting all of our content on Instagram. So Grace, you've done such a wonderful job promoting this content. I thought it would be only fitting to have your own Instagram-esque content display of all of your stories. As I held it sideways, a very embarrassing moment, but we're going with it. There it is, and more than a single story are all of your wonderful accomplishments. But maybe the greatest story that you taught me is that we have to go beyond that first story. Because if I never went beyond that first story of the person who was upset about their summer reading grade, I would have missed all of these wonderful stories that you had to share. So thank you for sharing your many stories with me, Grace. But remember, your greatest story is still out there, and I can't wait to hear all about it. Congrats on your academic excellence in your 4-year journey there.
Our next presenter will be Mr. Paul Vigent, Science, presenting on behalf of Samantha Blaze, attending Dartmouth College, studying physics and astronomy.
Good afternoon. I am honored to speak about a person that has inspired all of us in so many ways. Almost 3 years ago, a quiet and timid young lady came to my classroom door. Sam Blay was not a student of mine, but she was sent to my classroom because she was attempting to start a science team at our high school. She was sent to me because someone who knew me very well knew that I loved everything about science and liked to play with science as much as possible, and also knew I had the inability to say no to any student wishing to challenge themselves. Sam was a very quiet sophomore who was stepping out of her comfort zone in order to push herself forward. At that time, she, nor I, knew that she was pushing more than just herself. After the first 2 science team meetings, we had many students that showed interest. Unfortunately, the Science Olympiad challenges are difficult and overwhelmingly involved in many details. Therefore, within a month, while preparing for the annual competition, our team was whittled down to only 8 students. But one thing remained constant. Sam was at every meeting and every practice. She quietly put an enormous amount of effort and time preparing for multiple events. She was on a team that had 3 of the top 5 ranked seniors, and she outworked all of them and wowed all of us. As a sophomore, she came in first place in the astronomy event for the entire state of New Hampshire. Astronomy is not something that you learn in school. She chose to put in the time to understand it. This reminds me of a quote from Neil deGrasse Tyson. It's the inspired student that continues to learn on their own. That's what separates the real achievers in the world from those who pedal along, finishing assignments. All through this, Sam remained humble and driven to improve. During her junior year, I was able to work with Sam again on the science team as well as in AP chemistry. I used the words work with and not teach or coach deliberately. When Sam is in the classroom, it instantly feels like a team effort. She knows that when one truly wants to discover, there must be a dynamic dialogue between all those involved. Everyone on the science team and in AP chemistry benefited from the working with Sam. Along with being extraordinarily brilliant, she actively listens to others, respects their thoughts and ideas, and unsurprisingly is extremely kind. And if you listen carefully, she is sneakily witty, but is so at a very low volume. During AP chemistry, I have never seen a more focused student than what I witnessed with Sam. Although Sam does not have a passion for chemistry as if she does for astrophysics, she always wants to do her very best in everything she does. She would attend any extra help sessions that I would have, even the ones that happened during April vacation. When Sam does not fully grasp a new concept, even though that is rare, she will not let up until she does. This is just another way that she is a role model for all of those around her. Everyone looks to Sam as the barometer for the best, utmost level of passion and effort when it comes to learning. Sam is unrelentlessly working towards improving herself and her school. She is the president of the Science Honor Society, a member of the National Honor Society, and over the last 2 years, she has grown the science outreach program at the elementary schools, as well as starting the outreach program for the middle schools this year. Ms. Healy states that she is every advisor's dream. She stated that Sam puts everything she has into whatever she does, and she still manages her time very well. She is the founder and captain of the Timberlane science team, where she designed the team shirts, plans meetings, and assigns students to events. Sam doesn't only excel in STEM fields, she is also a member of Rho Kappa, plays Vasi tennis, and was the co-chair for the House Committee on Public Works and Transportation for the 2019 New Hampshire Youth and Government Conference. In Sam's very rare and precious free time, you can find her watching live Australian and French Open tennis in the middle of the night, or watching podcasts about the cosmos and human interest stories. Sam told me that one of her biggest obstacles is the fear of failure. Her favorite male tennis player, Rafael Nadal, once stated, "Losing is not my enemy. Fear of losing is my enemy." Well, if Sam's fear is an obstacle in her life, just like Rafa, then I am afraid that she is likely to only become as successful as the best tennis player on the planet. Sorry, Sam. This year has been a roller coaster for Sam, from being able to visit Italy to getting quarantined because of it when she returned home. She hasn't been back to school since mid-February, and for Sam, this is a tremendous loss. Sam may not have an opportunity to play tennis, compete in this year's Science Olympiad, or further improve the science outreach program even further, but she has so much to look forward to. Sam has been accepted to Dartmouth in order to study physics and astronomy. In these uncertain, ever-changing times, I am truly confident in Sam's ability to adapt to everything that has been thrown at her. Whether she is in scenic Hanover, New Hampshire, or in front of her computer at home, she will do what it takes to be successful. Just to borrow another quote from Dr. Tyson, a little-known secret is that a physicist is one of the most employable people in the marketplace. A physicist is a trained problem solver. How many times have you heard a person in the workplace say, "I wasn't trained for this"? That is an impossible reaction for a physicist, who would say instead, "Cool." Timberlane has benefited from Sam's 4 years here tremendously. Now Dartmouth gets to receive the same rewards. The amount of pride that I have for being able to work with Sam over the past 2 years cannot be put into words. So I will just end with saying congratulations and good luck in your future and growth and success at Dartmouth. And thank you for adding to and reinforcing the reasons why we all love the most rewarding occupation in the world. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. First of all, congratulations, students. It's such a great accomplishment to finish at the top of a talented class like yours. And tonight we heard so many nice things about you. It just makes my heart warm to know that this is the type of student that we're developing at Timberlane High School. I want to thank Mr. Brown for putting this all together, and I want to thank Mr. Zanello for his artistic and technical genius for making this possible. I also want to thank our superintendent of schools and the school board for all the support that they give us to make all of the things that go into your education possible. I want to thank our community for developing the type of atmosphere that this group of students represents. It's how I look at our school. It's through the eyes of somebody who's seen the growth in this district over the years, and this is about as fine a group as we've ever created, and I'm so proud of you. We're blessed by the commitment that you've shown to everything that we do at the school, our programs, all the work we do in the classroom, and the work we do in the community. So thank you. The complete picture of what happens in our schools goes well beyond the content that we study, the tasks that we perform, and the things that we evaluate. It goes beyond even the things that we award with celebrations like tonight. The complete picture really is what happens in the future because of people like you and the impact you have on your communities, the places that you work, and the families that you develop. You're great students, and the work you've done has actually, I think, made your teachers even greater. And and that just makes us all so much more, I guess, rewarded by the process. And I just want to say thank you all, thank you to the parents, and thank you to everybody here in the district working to make the dreams that you have come true. Congratulations.